And here we go. We are live. My bad, folks. I would have been here sooner, but I was trying to set my fantasy lineup, which I'm still trying to look over and do. It's all set. Oh my gosh, I didn't check the other league. Give me one more second. Let's final lookovers. Yeah, it's pretty good. We're good. We're all good. All right, awesome. So yeah, besides the fact that tonight's Thursday night football with the Bucks and the Ravens, we're also live tonight because your boy needs a travel day on Friday, so that's why we're doing this now. So thank you for joining us. So tonight we're going to be breaking down FAMU Arkansas Pine-Bluff homecoming game. A lot of energy around this game. Sold out crowd, of course, and everything like that, such as that. Can't wait to get in town. Honestly, for tomorrow the nearest fried fish stand or chicken wing stand I'm definitely looking for. As you already know, if you've seen the Running Gun podcast, you already for one knew we were going to be doing this tonight, and then you also knew too about my story with AD Gaucher, which if you haven't, I'll probably share it later if anybody asks to hear it. But yeah, so don't go anywhere. Intro's next. We're going to be talking about it. Players to watch, everything like that, of course. It's going to be a fun one. Keys to victory as well. How can FAMU make the FCS playoff? Do they deserve to make the FCS playoff? And everything under that category. But of course, like I said, sit down, sit tight. Intros next. I'm gonna look at my fantasy lineup just to make some last minute adjustments. Don't go anywhere, get comfortable. Let's go. All right, awesome. Here we go. So, forewarning: if my eyes do tend to veer off to the side here, to my right or to your guys' left, I think it's because I'm also multitasking, watching this and then watching the Thursday night game tonight. But let's dive right into it. So, of course, last week for Arkansas Pine Bluff, you caught another loss, and you found some offensive chemistry against Alabama A&M. You lost 31-34. Uh, Facts about Arkansas Pine Bluff, Doc Gamble got let go on October 20th. They're still looking for their first conference win. They come into this game 0-4, 333 total yards of offense in that game. 39 passing, 294 rushing. So I think it's already without doubt what they are is obviously they're a rushing team. So there's that. They had 50 attempts when rushing the ball last weekend or 2 weekends ago because they had their bye week. Same time FAMU had their bye week. So both teams are going to be into this game very fresh. So nobody should be having an issue there. This is the one that sticks out to me the most. 3 penalties for 28 yards. That goes to show you right there. They're as bad as things are, they play a clean game. FAMU has not had 3 penalties minimum in a game since. Oh my goodness. Wow. I don't know if y'all are watching Thursday Night Football right now, but oh man. Huge mistake. Huge mistake by the Bucks. But oh my gosh. Besides the fact, but yeah, this goes to show 3 penalties for 28 yards. FAMU hasn't had a 3 penalty game since the Albany State game, which is also the game that could end up biting FAMU in the end based off of how FAMU played that game. So, yeah, They allowed Alabama A&M to accumulate 388 yards of total offense. 162 of these yards were passing, 226 of these yards were rushing. At Arkansas Pine-Bluff also had 2 turnovers in that game. Defensively, they present with a 3-down lineman look. Usually they'll line up in a dime look depending on the offense that they face off against. So as we all know, Alabama A&M presents with a very pass-happy front. FAMU does the same thing because FAMU is a pass-first team. So they're going to bring that dime look a lot. So just be ready for it. The mindset of the team is in question, though, because a lot of things tend to happen when you fire. Because let's call a spade a spade. Doc Gamble was fired, and that's what it is. They let him go before they had a chance to fire him. It looks better when you choose to step away versus getting fired when it comes to resumes and if you want to get technical with that type of thing. But yeah, so the mindset of the team is in question. There's two avenues a team can go down when things like this happen. When your coach gets fired, either you will succumb to it and say, you know what, to heck with it, this doesn't matter anymore. I'm done with it. I'm playing for my draft stock, or I'm playing just to get this over with. Come the end of the season, the week before Thanksgiving, I'm out. Or what's going to happen is, okay, our coach got fired. We feel like we've been attacked. We've been backed into a corner. We're going to play ball, and we're going to play damn good ball to finish out this season. So it's going to go one of two ways. And you're going to see one of two teams from Arkansas Pine-Bluff this Saturday. Either they're going to come out and they're going to fight to the best of their ability, or they're just going to come out and lay over and realize, hey, we got a new coach coming in here anyway. I'm out after this. But with that comes the matter of, a lot of guys want to put good film out there for, if they hop into the portal or the new staff that is going to come in. So there's a lot of factors there at play. Because, like I said, you have an impression to make. You're still auditioning now for whoever's coming in or whoever you're going to, or if you're going to the NFL. I'm not doubting their abilities, but it's a possibility. So there's factors there. Now, as far as players to watch goes for Arkansas Pine-Bluff, Chancellor Edwards was their starting quarterback last week. 74 yards passing, 1 touchdown pass, 1 interception. Skylar Perry did not play at all. Kayvon Britton, who is their do everything back. 32 carries, 277 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is the bell cow. They had 5 touchdowns total last week. Wide receiver Maurice Lloyd, they do not utilize the wide receivers all that well. 2 receptions, 13 yards. DB Grand Ewell Jr., 12 total tackles. And their DBs, they make all the plays on this team. 12 total tackles. 6 solo tackles, 6 assists. Kyrie Williams, also a DB, 9 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Sincere Jones, 8 total tackles, 4 solo, 4 assists. A couple things stick out to me when DBs are making the brunt of tackles. Either you have a situation where guys are getting past that second and third level, past that first and second level and into the backfield, or they're bringing defensive backs on blitzes. Couple of those things are happening. I'm preferring the latter, where guys are getting into the second level and making plays. So the question now becomes is who starts at quarterback this week? So now you have to not only prepare for your FAMU's defense for Chancellor Edwards, you have to also prepare for Skylar Perry, who is a pretty decent passer and pretty decent quarterback. He didn't play that well last year, but you have to prepare for both. So now you got to think, okay, if Chancellor Edwards comes in, these are his tendencies. If Skylar Perry comes in, these are his tendencies. My thing is the staff, or what's left of Doc Gamble's staff there, they will likely go with the best available guy. And that's who they roll out with. Although I'm kind of betting on the fact that if Chancellor Edwards goes out there and starts this game, it's a heavy chance that you're going to see a full dose of Kayvon Britton running the football. So good chance. They might sprinkle in a little bit of Skylar Perry, depending on how severe, if he is injured or if he's not, based on everything, of course. If he's healthy, they may have a passing element that is brought back into this offense. Maybe. Who knows? How can this rushing attack keep them in the game? Honestly, look, when you run for 277 yards on 32 carries, you're milking a lot of clock. You are milking a whole lot of clock, especially if you're constantly falling forward and getting 4 to 5 yards, 6 yards every time. And that's what happens. The clock gets milked out. Now, as well, too, how motivated are they with Doc Gamble gone? It's another factor. Like I said earlier, they may come into this where they're just like, you know what, forget this whole thing. I'm done with it. Or they may come out and realize, you know what, there's something still left worth fighting for. They're only guaranteed, but so many games left. They still haven't won a conference game. There's a lot here still to fight for if you're all Arkansas Pine-Bluff, unless they've just flat out given up. Is the dime look on defense setting them up for failure in the run defense? Quite honestly, I mean, hey, it might be. You gave up 226 yards rushing last week, which is, again, ding, 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 another opportunity for FAMU to establish the run the ball well, and be consistent and take control. This is not a good run defense that you're going up against. They show 6 DBs. DBs are making the majority of the tackles. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. Hopefully, this is the week where, coming out of a bye week, you can find some consistency and make plays. Now, here's another one. Will they have to find more consistency passing? Yes, they will, which is honestly a testament to the fact that they're 0-4 in conference play. Really 0-5, because I do recall that they did lose to Oklahoma State. Yes, so you need to find some sort of consistency. You have to. If you're going to pass it, you can't win games in this day and age of college football just strictly running the ball. I know Georgia Tech was the last great team to really do that with their option look, but that's not going to do it for you now. Those schemes, those blocking schemes still work, but that's not going to do it for you moving forward. You need to be able to air it out, find some consistency and some balance. Balanced offenses tend to work more so better in this day and age. And also being able to spread teams out. 32 carries for 277 yards and 4 TDs and a loss. I'd be a pissed off running back. I would be. That's just me, because I gave all my effort and we still lost. Because now I'm thinking to myself, what more do I have to do? Now here comes the next question. Why is it critical to establish Britain? It is critical to establish Britain so you can set up the pass. Because if you can establish a run for your Arkansas Pine-Bluff, you can set up the pass. How does their secondary match up with FAMU's wide receiving core? To be honest with you, I still like FAMU's wide receiving core. I really do. This is a group of guys that can win one-on-one matchups. If they can win their one-on-one matchups, they have a chance. They have a chance to really, Moose has a chance to go for 300 yards. You have to win those matchups. Now, for the FAMU players to watch, or really FAMU, last game was against Grambling 2 weeks ago. You won 20-6. Pitiful display in a win. Very ugly win. Overall bad performance, 172 yards and penalties. Very stagnant offense. Willie Simmons did, in fact, though, still win his 50th career game. Isaiah Land and Terrell Jennings both didn't play last week due to injuries. Throughout the duration of the game, you lost TJ Lee, you lost Gentle Hunt, you lost both Bowler brothers to cramps. Jordan Moore will not be playing the rest of this season, which is unfortunate and sad to say, because I was really actually curious to see what he could do for this team. Jeremy Musa last week. Oh, wait, no, my bad. I'm getting ahead of myself. Had 340 yards of total offense, 226 passing from Musa, 114 rushing, which is pretty good. Pretty good. You want better out of the running backs in total, because when I read off the lead rusher, you're going to be like, what? Yeah. Defense is keeping this team in games. In the last 2 weeks, the defense has given up special teams gave up a touchdown last week. But in the last 2 games, really, the defense has only given up 10 points. In the last game, defense gave up 10 points, truly. I know, and then Grambling had 2 field goals earlier in the first half, I believe it was. And then South Carolina State, defense gave up 2 touchdowns but it needs to be better. The defense, though, again, as far as playing, they're doing their part. It's just the discipline part and giving these teams added yardage. But the defense, for the most part, is holding up well. It's the offense that I think needs to reach its capability. Because honestly, if Grambling and South Carolina State are scoring 14 points, we really should be scoring like 30, 40, if I must be honest. Oh, and he was out. He was out. Oh, man. Sorry. Sidetrack with the Bucks game. Also, too, defense, yeah, like I said, keeping us in games. 5 of 13 on third down. Jeez. Yeah, that's got to improve. 3.9 yards per carry from this rushing attack. That's got to get better. And that's a testament to the offensive line still trying to gel together, which hopefully you get TJ Lee back and company off of these injuries that they sustained in Grambling and over the last couple of weeks. We got to stay healthier, man. Golly. This is something that worried me for a while, was the fact of injuries piling up. The last 2 games have been decided by a TD or less. Got to be better. Got to be better. And I want to point to the uninterrupted video that came out yesterday regarding FAMU and the what occurred when they went to UNC. That to me showed, this team is resilient. And it showed what I was thinking, honestly, going into that game. I was like, my God, just hopefully these guys can stay home, get home healthy, come out of it okay. We lost Cesar Reyes. You lost Brian Crawford, your starting center. Hopefully, this is something that doesn't happen again. It shouldn't happen again. The university failed those young men, but they also stated it was not an attack on the administration. They're just calling for better action. Being a college kid, and I'm sure a lot of other people have been college kids before, you need your financial aid. The thing that bothered me the most was the fact that a lot of these guys that you're relying on to be D1 athletes, go to class, and do what they're supposed to do and perform still at a high level. I had no idea that a lot of these guys were sleeping on the floor in the locker room at night. That's pitiful. That's pitiful. Guys should not have to worry about the fact that their financial aid checks didn't come in, so the fact that they can't pay their rent. That's embarrassing. And it's shameful. And it's, I don't want to say inhumane, but it's pretty damn close. So shame on the administration for not being consistent with that and this whole compliance thing. Better needs to be done. You need to do better by your student athletes, because I can guarantee you football is not the only sport that's dealing with that. Basketball, probably. Baseball, track. I was about to say women's lacrosse, but I'm just like, don't do that. Do not go down that rabbit hole and mess up. But golf, probably. It's sad. Sad to say. So, yeah, you got to do better. And I'm going to actually reiterate something that I reiterated from last night on the Running Gun podcast. So, by the way, you can go back and listen to that too. So, less than a month after the FAMU players called attention to their hardships, student athletes, 6 other FAMU students filed a $1.6 billion class action lawsuit against the state of Florida and the Board of Governors of the state university system. The students allege that the state has maintained a segregated system of higher education and are seeking complete parity within Florida's predominantly white public institutions within the next 5 years. After FAMU football players spoke out, 17 of the 26 players battling compliance issues were cleared to play within a week. They demanded accountability from the university's leadership, calling for an internal audit and weekly meetings with the university president, Dr. Larry Robinson. And quite honestly, I think that itself is what led to the good news that we all eventually would get. What was it this morning? Well, yeah, yesterday, where basically, Florida A&M University receives a clean NCAA academic performance program audit. So, yeah, now, wipe the slate clean, get to start over, get a fresh start. And that's where AD Tiffany Sykes comes in. You have to make sure and ensure that things like this don't happen again. You are specialized in compliance. We will support you. I'm on board. I have nothing against the lady. Look, we have who we have. We got to support them because it's not about we, or no, it's not. I mean, it's not about, I or me. It's about we and what's best for the university and the athletic program at the end of the day. Now, the players to watch: Jeremy Musa, 2 weeks ago, 22 of 36, 226 yards, 2 TDs, 1 passing, 1 rushing, of course. Jalen McLeod, 12 carries, 57 yards. He led the running back room with yards. Xavier Smith, bad day. Well, not a bad day, but could have been better. 6 receptions, 61 yards, 1 TD. Jamari Shareed, 8 receptions, 106 yards. And then Isaiah Major, who continues to be a playmaker and a force. 6 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss. John Chaney Jr., who's actually stepping up to be quite the linebacker. And it's proving the depth at linebackers very promising behind Isaiah Major and Darius Fagan and Eric Horn. John Chaney Jr., 7 total tackles last week, 5 solo, 2 assists. Kamari Stevens, the defensive end, 3 total tackles, 3 sacks, 1 pass breakup. I liked what I saw. Okay, so of course, the first question comes to mind, how can FAMU expose their dime defense? How can you expose a dime defense? You got 6 guys in the box. You got 6 guys playing against the pass. You got to gash them. You have to gash them. You look at what Alabama A&M was able to do to Arkansas Pine-Bluff, 226 yards on the ground. You have to follow that. Again, we talked with FAMU Central Podcast 2 weeks ago or a week ago about this, and it was basically, the blocking schemes don't have to be, so complex. Sometimes it's okay to be a little basic. You don't have to pull this guy and pull that guy and then send this guy here and send that guy there. Sometimes you just really need to do, just get some fire under your ass and just fire off the ball and put someone in the dirt. Sometimes that's what you need to do. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. And you can establish a run game. Because when you fall forward, and I feel like I say this every week, when you fall forward for 3, 4, 5 yards after contact, it creates confidence. All of a sudden, 2nd and 5 comes in, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. Situations like that where you're constantly converting. And it speaks a testament now to what Willie Simmons said earlier in the year on his show, where he was basically saying that, they want to be able to dominate in certain aspects of the game, where it's like certain percentages. Is your 3rd down percentage good? 5 of 13 on 3rd down ain't going to cut it no more. It's not. 172 penalties is not going to cut it anymore. The thing I always say, and it's following the Clemson element, is always, you want to dominate the last 5 minutes of the second half and dominate the first 5 minutes of dominate the first or the last 5 minutes of the second half, dominate the first 5 minutes of the second half. That little part right there is what could possibly win you the game in the end. Don't allow the opposition to make plays in that span. You need to take control of the game from this point to that point. And if you do that, it's a good chance you win. And then also, too, another element that I had been talking about is, and oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on it. I'll come back to it. All right. What was learned coming out of the bye week? Hopefully what was learned was the fact of discipline. Hopefully that was learned, because you got to be disciplined to win games. And that's another thing, if you watch Willie Simmons's, talk show Monday night on Facebook Live, he talked about the fact that he went in at the half and he was very disappointed and said to the guys, I don't know what FAMU team that was, but that's not a Willie Simmons coach FAMU team. So you need to just be a better version of yourself, leave that team in the locker room, come out with a new mindset in the second half. And quite honestly, he's right. And that is something that hopefully was corrected over the course of 2 weeks, because, You can't come out of a bye week and play like that again, especially if you're trying to be an FCS playoff team. You can't. You just can't and expect to have success, especially with the fact that you have Southern and our Alabama A&M looming. And then you have the Florida Classic after that. And then hopefully praying you get in the FCS playoffs. I've said it multiple times, honestly, and I will not hold back on it. I think this has the potential to be probably one of the worst 9-2 teams that I've seen. It has the potential to. Hopefully, I'm proven wrong here in the last 4 weeks, but quite honestly, I've seen no drastic improvement from the Orange Blossom Classic to now. I'm sorry, I just haven't. Oh well. Now you could make a claim and say, we looked like a capable offense against Alabama A&M when we scored 38 points and went for over 300 yards passing, but outside of that, we've kind of regressed a little bit. We've been very predictable. Offensive line hasn't been elite. Offense has been stagnant. Some's got to get better. Why is the depth at wide receiver? Why the depth at wide receiver needs to establish itself? Why? And I think Ashton's honestly said this multiple times too. You need to establish depth for the future. And quite honestly, me personally, I'd like to see, I'd like to see a wide receiving core where I say to myself, oh my gosh, we have 3 wide receiver number ones. We have three guys that could probably play wide receiver 1 on other teams somewhere else. And we are so fortunate to have them. And that's where I would like to see, Xavier Smith every week has stepped up to the plate and taken over and taken control of games. But with guys all over the place also too, like David Manigo, Jamari Shareed. Jamari Shareed's a ball player. Heck of a ball player. He can take over a game. But I'm still waiting to see a guy like David Manigo take over a game and dominate and impose his will. Darian Oxenine take over a game and impose his will. I was hoping at some point to see Trevante Davis, possibly be that third guy that would step up and dominate and possibly take a game over. And that's what I mean. Guys that you have to, at every aspect all over the field, that you have to account for. On top of the tight ends like Kamari Young, who, quite honestly, should have had a touchdown 2 weeks ago against Grambling. That's besides the fact. How can the FAMU defense make another big impact today? Quite honestly, I think you got to shut down the run. FAMU's defense has to shut down the run and create turnovers. If you hit them, we have not had a turnover for a touchdown yet. I've realized that. We have not. We are still looking for our first turnover for a touchdown this season. We've had multiple opportunities. We just haven't executed it the right way. And that's where I say this. It's not enough to just get the ball and get turnovers. You need to get turnovers and go score. Getting the turnover is not good enough. Get it and go score. How can the run game take control today? Quite honestly, one of your lead backs needs to do better than 57 yards. Quite honestly. They have to. So I think the fact that, they tend to present with multiple DBs offers the opportunity. I think the fact that this team comes in here reeling, you can take advantage of that. Like I said, again, you don't know what the mindset is. We're not sure, but I'd test them up the middle. I really would early. And as soon as they figure that out, you know what? I'm letting Musa rip it. I really would. Because Xavier Smith, he's going to have a big day. Xavier Smith and Jamari Shareed are going to have a big day Saturday. I'm already booking it. They both might go over 100, quite honestly. Because this team does tend to play better when they're at home. But my God, we got to establish the run. We have to. And since I'm done with all the questions, I'll go ahead and talk about the big picture on the wall, and that's the FCS playoffs. Quite honestly, like I've stated multiple times, if you ask me, do we deserve to go to the FCS playoffs? Right now, no, we don't. In my opinion, we don't. We haven't earned it. I'm sorry. And multiple people bring up a good case. I think what the FCS playoff committee is going to do is they're going to hold that against us for this year. They're going to hold what happened last year against us. I'm sorry. So, quite honestly, I don't know if the sun comes out after the Florida Classic, whether you win or lose it. I don't know. It's going to come down to literally a split second on Selection Sunday. If they take us and they put us in, all right, bring it on. We're probably headed to Sanford. We're probably headed, somewhere else. Who knows? Or Mercer. Who knows? You're probably headed to one of the two. Or Southeast Louisiana again. Who knows? But you got to play better. You got to put a better product on the field in these last 4 games if you're going to consider that. Because right now, I don't like this team's chances going into the FCS playoffs to play somebody. Now, that's not for me to say, upsets can happen, but it's possible. But you got to be better. You got to be better. We're not as good as the team at this point right now as we were last season. We're not. And hopefully there is more growth. But besides that fact, I'm going to go ahead and roll out with the keys to victory. So, key to victory number 1 offensively. Establish the run to set up the pass. If you establish the run to set up the pass, it opens up a lot of avenues. It creates confusion amongst Arkansas Pine-Bluff. And I think that's good. I think that's going to be hard for them to keep up with. And you're going to gash them. Defensively, it's as follows. Stop the run. This team had 294 yards rushing. Their leading back had 277 yards rushing on the ground. You stop the run, you eliminate that. This team's not that good of a passing team. Their leading receiver had 2 receptions for 13 yards. You do that, whether it's Chancellor Edwards in or Skylar Perry in, you have a chance to have a big day defensively. And again, if you get a turnover, go score. Getting a turnover is nice, but it's even better when you can score. It makes life easier for the offense. And then finally, because, again, we had, oh my dear Lord, like 172 yards and penalties, it's as follows. Discipline. If you play with discipline, you don't put yourself in tough spots. You don't give offenses second and third chances. You don't create hard situations for your defense. You don't make the kick longer than it has to be for your kicker when it comes to kicking a field goal. If I'm a kicker, I'd rather be kicking 30-yard field goals versus kicking 40-yard field goals. Not for the sake of just, 40-yard field goals look cool and stuff on videos and it looks cool to scouts, but the simple fact that it makes life easier for your kicker and it's less stress on the leg. I have no doubt Jose Romo Martinez can still kick a 40, 50-yarder, but for the sake of making things easier for him, don't create dumb penalties where that happens. So, yes, discipline is my third key to victory. And with that, my final score prediction for this game is, and I know I'm probably going to be wrong again, but it's worth a try. I'm going to try to be optimistic and say FAMU figures it out in the bye week and comes out and makes a statement to try to, make one little last rally for the FCS playoffs to control your own destiny. So I'm going to go with FAMU winning 38-9. I think Arkansas Pine-Bluff does what Grambling did last year and comes to town and just to kick 3 field goals and go back home losers. So, yeah, I'm going to go with it. FAMU 38, Arkansas Pine-Bluff 9. I think FAMU rolls on homecoming. A little known fact, FAMU is, in fact, 21-5 on homecoming since Billy Joe's second season. I think they'll be 22-5 on homecoming after Saturday. So, yep, I'm going to roll with that. And with that being said, like I said, we did this tonight because we got to travel tomorrow. I won't be back after the game Saturday. Hate to say that. So, enjoy your homecoming. Enjoy your Friday night. I will be at the Rick Ross concert on Friday night in Frenchtown. So if you see me, say what's up. As well too, if you see me at the game or you see me on Friday night at the stadium, say what's up. Of course, we always welcome friends of the page. If you notice me, say what's up. Also, to shout out once again to the one person at the Mississippi Valley game that saw me and said, "What's up? You are the real MVP." That's what's up. I appreciate it. We always welcome it and stuff. I know I met Ashton at the Florida Classic. So again, if you see me, say what's up. Don't be shy. Come on. Come on. Honestly, if you got something good to drink too, pass it over. Just don't spike it. Just do not spike it. But yeah. So yeah, folks, that's going to do it for me. Yeah, keys to victory as follows. Establish the run, stop the run defensively, and then discipline. And like I said, FAMU wins 38-9. So yeah, if you are watching this on Friday as you are traveling, safe travels and everything. If you're watching this on your way to the stadium on Saturday, whichever time you may be watching this, be safe, of course. Enjoy Perry Street, enjoy Wanish Way, of course, and everything. Enjoy the game. But as always, stay safe, stay blessed. We will see you next time.